Well, hooly dooly, I can honestly, hand on heart, say that Hard Candy could have been the album to completely and utterly destroy Madonna, professionally and personally. And I'm not exaggerating. In this age of Black Lives Matters, she was so determined to nail the gangster image for this new urban sound that she actually seriously planned to call this album Black Madonna. And it wasn't just a nugget of an idea. She even did a photo shoot resplendent in blackface makeup. Listen to this quote from Madonna herself. "I did a photo shoot with Stephen Klein for my last album cover, and I painted my face black, except for red lips and white eyes. It was a play on words. Have you ever heard of the Black Madonna? It has layers of meaning, and for a minute I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be a fun title for my record. Then I thought, 25% of the world might get this, probably less. It's not worth it. It happens all the time because my references are usually off the Richter scale." So consider this, Madonna fans. There is an entire photo shoot of Madonna sitting somewhere on a memory stick, probably in Stephen Klein's archives, which features Madonna portraying herself as a black version of Madonna. This is more than a stick of dynamite. As we trawl through our retro review of Hard Candy, Megs, Lily and David, it's mind-blowing to consider how close our icon came to obliterating her own career. Can you believe it, Megs? A Black Madonna. Imagine that album cover of Hard Candy, the Black Madonna.
Yeah, no,
It's crazy.
I was amazed when I read about this. Like in these turbulent times, like it was different probably in 2008 when she released it, but in these turbulent times, that would have been absolutely terrible.
Even at the time, it was a different time, but it would have absolutely been like beyond, even for Madonna's standards, beyond scandal, even at the time. And then it would have resurfaced now. And honestly, I hand on heart say she would have completely been banned and blacklisted, and she would not have a career. That's how far. And that is Madonna, the queen of scandals.
Yeah, well, it was one of those rare times where she had to decide that this is too controversial, which is very hard for Madonna to define anything as too
I'll
controversial.
tell you something, Megs. If there's an idea that even Madonna thinks might be going a little bit too far, then you know it's probably beyond morally objectionable.
Yes, yes.
Lily and David, what do you make of this? I know we're here to talk about Hard Candy, but I want to just start by talking about the what could have been.
Madonna likes to push the envelope, as we all know. And, you know, she wants to stay relevant. She wants to stay cool. Hey, I'm putting out this album that is very R&B influenced, more street-like. So why not, give that street sensibility to my look? So, who knows if she would have gone through with it? I think it would have been okay. I think that some people would be like, what? She couldn't do it in 2020. No way.
No. I hear what you're saying. Artistically, there's a logic to it. But I truly think even back then, here in Australia, there were a couple of examples. In fact, Harry Connick Jr., he came on an Australian show earlier than 2008 when Hard Candy was released, and he called out a skit that was done on the show, a comedy skit, where some Aussie guys came out in blackface, and everyone was just howling with laughter, and it was considered very funny. And I will never have anything but respect for Harry Connick Jr. for, in the middle of all of that, when you're in a big group and everyone's finding something funny, to be the lone man. And he said it so beautifully, so respectfully. Go and look it up on YouTube. And he just said, look, I just wanted to say, with his American, I just wanted to say that I know you guys all thought that was really funny, but actually there's a context. And he gave the context so beautifully and so professionally. So I guess what I'm saying, David, is I think it's interesting that you sort of contend maybe at the time it might have been seen as okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think it would have been outrageous even back then.
I agree that it would have been seen as bad because I think by doing blackface for the cover of the album, it would not only be seen as offensive, but it's insinuating that only black people listen to this kind of music. It's like, this is black music and I'm Madonna doing black music. And I think it's very odd because you'd think of Madonna as very progressive, and I'd say this was an odd choice for her to make in her history of being...
Yes, ignorant, right? Ignorant, and not like Madonna at all.
I was just going to say, being that she was working with Timberland and Pharrell Williams, guess what I'm doing, guys, for my album cover? I would love to know their take on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to
yes.
say. I was going to say, like, she's had Kanye West on this one, and a lot of hip hop in it as well. Sort of like you said, a bit more street sort of stuff. And so I think people might have interpreted it that way, which would have been really bad.
It's also worth remembering that back in her very early career, it wasn't her choice at this stage, they didn't want Madonna on the cover of her first single because they wanted the public to believe that she was a black artist. So it all comes full circle in a way. It's very interesting. What would it have done for Madonna's career if she had have gone ahead with Black Madonna as the title of the album and with that controversial cover?
Honestly, I don't know what would have happened. I would only assume negative. I honestly don't want to think about it just because it didn't happen. And
I was just going to say, as someone who lived through the Like a Prayer scandal, the sex scandal, which were all pretty mega, I have to say. For people who weren't around, you just don't get it. No internet, and it was everywhere, and people were angry and outraged about it, or excited and inspired by it. This would have blown all of those into nothing. This would have been the Vesuvius of Madonna scandals.
You really can't, or she couldn't really defend it. When you think about it, how would she defend it? By saying, exactly. I just adopted David Banda. And, it's you think about it and it's like, and she's always, even back in her early New York days, I mean, she's always embraced the Black community, but still, I mean, there's no justification to it.
Yeah, but what I'm reading here is that the Black Madonna tends to refer to statues or paintings in Western Christendom that the Blessed Virgin Mary and the infant
You can
Jesus.
already see the interviews, Megs. You can see the interviews. That's not what I meant.
Yes,
that's not what I meant.
she
I was referring to her religious symbolism.
She would say it was religious symbolism.
I know, but absolutely there would have been calls, and I actually don't even think calls. I think there would have been genuine legal proceedings to remove her children from her. I honestly, I think that this would have been mega. My other question to you all, what happens if any of these photographs emerge today?
Probably career ending. I would say Stephen Klein would be shady if he did that. She probably regrets it. She's not going to comment on it, of course, nowadays because she doesn't want to bring attention to it.
Well, I mean, I think she's campaigning for Black Lives Matter at the moment as well, and I think it would erupt. But I think maybe she'd be able to defend it on the basis that it was years ago and it was for a particular artistic project. Maybe, don't you think?
Oh, that's where her PR team would go, 100%. Yeah. But these photographs, from the description that she herself has given, they're not light. She's gone full out like Madonna would do. They're full-on photographs. David, you were going to say?
I was going to say, do you guys remember when in the movie Truth or Dare, and she was being banned by the Vatican, she had read a statement, and it was beautifully written. I just see her, if this were to come out, like I just see her like with a written statement, on TV, stating, her thoughts, her beliefs, and how she never intentionally would ever mean to hurt anybody, or, she wouldn't ever want to cause a ruckus like that in terms of a person's skin color. I mean,
you said it best, David, before when you referred to the other things that she's spoken about are defensible. There's an argument. There's a logic.
Right.
This would be considered indefensible. There's no statement she could read.
No justification. Like I said, yeah, exactly. She's a smart woman. It's like, I'm sure she was like, whoa. I mean, she said there's a little snippet where she's like, I think 25% of people will get this. I think it would probably be half of that, maybe 12.5%. I don't know.
Yeah, but the evidence that that's not what she was going for, like that she was going for a black skin thing. She was mainly going for the religious symbolism. Is like, she's campaigning for Black Lives Matter. She has no prejudice. She actively speaks out against prejudice.
I can tell you something, Megs. The public wouldn't care.
I feel like in this
that photo would be so much more powerful.
And you know what? I don't think it has anything to do. I don't think it has anything to do with religion. It has to do with an R&B album. Rhythm and blues came from the Black culture. I don't think that if she were to go the religion route and say it's a paint, no, I think that would really backfire on her. That's just my
But
opinion.
it absolutely is part of what she was trying to do. And I think
Yeah.
in this culture that we're in now, I think truth is going to spring back quite hard. And maybe it would actually work out well for her, because it would be an example of celebrities being attacked for saying something or doing something that was meant to be doing, intended to be doing or saying something else, but then being used by, people on the left, for example, to, attack them and pillage them.
I hear what you're saying, Megs, but this particular topic is too explosive, too sensitive. She would not live this one down.
Yeah.
So look, let's just hope that those photos never see the light of day. This was her 11th studio album. It was released in 2008. Let's talk about the music now. Megs, what do we make of Hard Candy as a piece of music, as a product?
I actually really, really love this album. I think that there's pretty much no filler in it. Every song it all links together really well with the theme of R&B and everything, and how Pharrell Williams provided the demos and they built off of those and gave it a really smooth pop sound, like really sophisticated, sort of polished vocals. And I think the whole album is really, really good and achieved what it was trying to achieve.
Lily, David, was this the sequel to Bedtime Stories?
No, I don't think. I love what Madonna did here. She was coming off an incredibly successful album with Confessions on a Dance Floor and an incredible tour and a Grammy Award-winning album. It won the Grammy for Best Dance Album. And what Madonna does so well is, she completely does a 180. She, Confessions on a Dance Floor was a complete disco montage, where now it's like, I'm going to go complete R&B, hip hop, pop, dance pop, going to leave the disco behind. There was a little bit of disco influence there, but I just love the fact that she really changed it up.
Lily, some people say that this album involved Madonna being a puppet to too many other producers, and that she became sort of secondary to the album, whereas usually she's at the forefront.
Well, I would have to agree with that statement. I would think, and we can talk about this on the individual tracks, but I would say sometimes Pharrell and Justin put themselves in it too much when they don't need to. And I would say that could be with her for like choosing to work with them, or it's most likely them just pushing their way to be in the front of something that they shouldn't be. But my opinion about Hard Candy is that it's not, like, you could argue that Confessions, Ray of Light, Erotica, Like a Prayer, these albums are not only great pop albums, they're great pieces of art. Hard Candy is not a great piece of art, but it's a great, fun pop album. I would say it's not one of her worst. It's definitely not her best, but from what it offers, it's great.
I tell you what, it was bloody successful too. I know Confessions was as well, but there's, by any standards, commercially, this was a success, and then obviously led into the Hard Candy tour, which was the biggest grossing concert tour by a solo act ever. So, and only 3 singles though, and not as much promotion as Madonna usually does. So it did incredibly well.
And only one top 10 single, I thought, as well, which was 4 minutes. I think there was only one, and so that's a bit. But overall, it did really well, I think, comparatively, even though the singles themselves didn't sort of blow the charts up, sort of thing.
Okay, so I hadn't listened to Hard Candy, the album, all the way through in about a decade. So it was nice. Yeah, I know. I call myself a Madonna fan, right? But anyway, revisiting it, I really fell in love with it again. I did a lot of homework on this the past week, and I Googled articles on Hard Candy, and a lot of critics said the same thing. Like, was it Megs that said no filler? There isn't a bad track on this album.
Boy.
Well,
are we okay?
No, I'm just. I have a very heavy opinion about one song in particular. That hearing those statements.
I don't know which one you're referring to. Yeah,
well, anyway, I think it's a great cohesive album. I think that Madonna sounds great on it. No auto-tune. I think that's really nice. I give it a solid B plus. I give it a very good grade. Excellent,
Yeah.
artful. No, I agree with Lily on that. But it's fun. It's just that
Yeah.
it's a fun piece of work.
I fully agree, and I appreciated the collaboration with Justin and like how she went where her heart desired basically, because she heard Justin's 2006 album and she just decided to go with that, and I'll just collaborate with him. Like it wasn't like a big master plan, like an amazing artistic piece. I think it was just a really interesting period where she was just experimenting and doing what she felt like, and I think the album is really, like you say, cohesive in its aims. Yeah.
I really, really love reading reviews when they're cleverly written. Listen to this one from Stephen Thomas Erlewine from All Music. He wrote at the time, quote, "There's a palpable sense of disinterest in Hard Candy, as if she's just handed the reins over to Pharrell and Timberlake, trusting them to polish up this piece of stale candy. Maybe she's not into the music. Maybe she's just running out this last album for Warner before she moves on to the greener pastures of Live Nation. Either way, Hard Candy is a rare thing, a lifeless Madonna album." Yeah.
Well, it's the same old song with the critics. You know, they're hard on her in the beginning, and then 10 years later, they revisit it and say, "Oh wow, it was the same thing with erotica. It was
ahead of its time."
It was the same thing with American Life. American Life is like all the critics now say, "Oh my gosh," you know. I think Hard Candy, and you know, maybe MDNA in a few years will. I don't know about that one, but.
That will never be honored, David.
Well, it's my least favorite Madonna album, so.
All right, let's move through this album track by track. The opening track is Candy Shop, and I've got to say, this is a really odd track for me. I really didn't like it the first few times I heard it. I thought, wow, this is lightweight for an opening track, because Madonna is quite famous for opening her albums with something either highly creative or just having that wow factor. But this song has really grown on me, like so many, because of the live performances, really. I love This Sugar Is Raw. I have no idea why, but when that part comes on, I'm into it. And then that dance that she does from the concert where she's moving from right across the stage.
I love that.
Bloody awesome, I've got to say.
I think it's a great opening for this album. If that has some level of shade, you can decide. I think it perfectly sums up the cheeky but dancey vibe that the album will have. And I do think the song itself is quite fun. It's pretty stupid though, like the lyrics and the "My Sugar Is Raw" stuff. I mean, I will not go a full month without at least saying that once. So
well, see, it's got under your skin. David, what's Candy Shop about?
Well, it's kind of, I guess it's tongue in cheek. You know, there's a lot of double entendres there, I guess. So, you know, it's just, you know, I'm going to show you a good time. Come into my candy shop and I'll give you something sweet. But don't take advantage of me because I'm hard.
I think that it's amazing as the opening for the concert. I think it's just a very theatrical song. Like it's perfect for performance, for staging, for choreography. I just think it was a really good way to open the Sticky and Sweet tour, and a good way to open the album.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people would think Madonna's favorite Madonna song is Candy Shop because of the amount of times she has performed it, for it not being a single.
Yeah, I was very shocked when she performed it on MDNA. I'm like, really? You're bringing this song back? Yeah.
And Rebel Heart.
Oh, so she did 3 tours in a row with Candy Shop. Wow, that is interesting.
She did 3 tours in a row, and that's, I think, more than she's done that.
Isn't that funny, Lily, that I forgot Candy Shop was in Rebel Hearts?
But single number one off the album was 4 Minutes. This was featuring Justin Timberlake and Timberland as well, which was very confusing to old brains like mine. Which one's which?
Yeah.
And of course, Justin Timberlake was the flavour of the moment at around the time that this was released.
I love 4 Minutes. 4 Minutes is amazing. It's an excellent song, and it's got a meaning behind it as well as a good rhythm and everything. You know, I think the song she talked about and how, or maybe she didn't talk about it, but people have speculated that it was after her visit to Africa that she wrote the song or came up with the idea for the song. And then we saw her yesterday talking in an interview about how it's about the world is going to hell sort of thing, and it's a little bit apocalyptic, but at the same time it's hopeful and fun, and we're going to have fun while we're correcting what we've done wrong and fixing the world. And I think it's just a great track. It was a good video clip. It was a good single.
Yeah,
it
look,
made the top 10.
I've got to say, like, I feel that there's a great sense of desperation when she gets the flavour of the moment, in this case Justin Timberlake, to say her name in a track. She does this throughout her career, like Madonna. Like, come on, give me a break. Does that really need to be weaved into the song so that she's legendary? I know why she's doing it. I know the motivation, and it bothers me.
She is legendary. She deserves it. Justin should say her name.
She's exactly, but if you're truly legendary, you don't need, you starter to say your name in a song.
Well,
Tim, but when you see the video, it all ties it in beautifully.
Oh, don't get me started, David. That video, what a load of old rot. I mean, what the hell's going on?
OMG, wait a minute. That video is fantastic in every way.
You have to say that, David, because...
No, from the special effects to Madonna's first facial work to her amazing... I'm glad she went platinum again, because I was sick of that drabby hair from the Confessions era. But anyway...
How dare you?
It was a very entertaining video. I love the countdown clock in the back. Yeah. I love her little yoga poses. I mean, it's just fun. It's fun.
It's fun. It was groovy.
No, anyone who says they like that video is just trying to make themselves sound deep. No one knows what it means. What the devil does it mean? It means nothing.
Who doesn't want to get down at a grocery store and dance on a conveyor, the grocery conveyor belt? Hello.
They got the French choreographers in, and they had all these amazing ideas, and that culminated in the video. Like they're trying to get out of a maze or something. Like it's good.
Sorry, Lily. I promised to let you get a word in, but I watched the behind the scenes of that. Even Madonna and Justin Timberlake admit in the middle of shooting this, while they're standing there waiting to do a shot, we have no idea what's going on here, but we assume it will be okay. What a load of old tosh.
But it doesn't really matter. They danced their hearts out, and it was great.
No, it was quite embarrassing watching him try to keep up with Madonna, actually.
Well, it's pretty hard.
Something I will say that kind of bugs me about the song, and it's such a stupid thing that bugs me, is the song is 4 minutes and 4 seconds, and I really just
I've heard that before.
It's something that really stands out to me and really bugs me. Another thing about the video is I think the video's fun, like everyone's saying. I will admit, I think this song, 4 minutes, this might sound weird to David and Tim, but I would say 4 minutes as the video and the song for my generation, and I'm not sure if Megs agrees, is the one that stands out as the Madonna track that everyone knows, not like a Prayer or Vogue.
What, it's her most left song ever, is it?
Yeah, no, I know. It's like it's sort of environmentalism and saving the planet from destruction, and it's urgency. It's like, and now we have to take up the baton to deal with the mess. And so we're going to dance and have fun along the way.
She didn't have a flower or a tree in her brain when she was helping to write
this. I think she did, but I'm not even saying I agree. I just think that's part of the meaning that's behind it.
That's part of the meaning that she's sculpted around it because it's trendy, and she does that very well.
Yeah, but the visit to Africa.
It was her first top 5 singles since Don't Tell Me, so it was 8 years.
Wow.
Justin helped there with I'm youthful. We're going to bring in the youth. You know what? She's pushing 50 at this time. Kudos to her. Again, I thought it was a great opening single for an album, and it was a different sound from Madonna. Yeah, it was very Justin-like and produced, but hey, I again, good jam.
I noticed nobody's mentioned Timberland.
I didn't like how he was filmed. I don't know. He was just standing by the clock.
Yeah. I think he contributed a lot to the sound of it. Like, people say that he contributed this unique kind of beat, like Benga beats or something. I haven't looked into what that is, but and he contributed, the idea of the cowbells and the foghorns going into it, and he made it partly what it was, and so that's good. I think that was just a homage to him in the video, basically.
For sure.
Yeah.
just sounds like a noisy mess, in my opinion. Track 3, Give It to Me. Now we're back into Madonna territory with good pop music. Give It to Me. There's some really interesting demo versions of this. There are some interesting other versions floating around on the net. Give It to Me. What do we make of this one?
Well, I think this song is fun, but I mean, honestly, the only reason I love this song is I love the bridge, because I love how it builds with the vocoder and slowly gets more intense with it. But apart from that, it's just like a fun dance song to me, and there's nothing super that stands out.
I thought it was sort of a self-referential song to me. Like, she was talking about nothing's going to stop her. She's going to keep going. It was a song about energy and vitality, and how and you know how she's going to keep doing it, and she won't stop just because she's getting older, which is sort of like the whole idea of the album, that she's going to keep doing it. And I thought it was like just a really, really good track with its bass line and everything, and I can't really fault it. Really.
Didn't she say that the album cover was inspired by this track as well, in terms of her being a resilient boxer, and no matter how many times she gets knocked down, she's going to get back up? And
yeah, I think she loves this song. I think it's a big part of what she thinks when she thinks of the Hard Candy tour and everything, or the Sweet and the whatever it's called, Sticky and Sweet tour.
I love this track too, mainly because of that Get Stupid left, right. If you listen to this on an awesome stereo system, it's literally doing that.
I forgot about that. I hate that part.
Well, I'm just going to say that, like Candy Shop, which opened the tour, Give It to Me closed it, and I just remember the energy and the dance routine, and just everybody was. I mean, hey, it's anthemic, you know. Listen, you know, give it to me. I can handle anything.
I agree. I think it was a great tour closer. I would almost say it should have been the album closer, because the album. Anyway, we'll get there eventually. I think it would have been a great closer in general.
It's sad though, because this is where, you know, she had such a huge hit with 4 minutes, and then this is the second release. Number 57, a very high charting position for her, but then it falls off the chart the next week. Radio didn't play it.
No, right? Yeah. Is that why it didn't do so well? Radio didn't support it, you reckon? Because I would have thought this would be a complete chart stomper.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that radio didn't. Nope.
Track 4 on the album is Heartbeat. I can't stand this song.
What? Filler for me. I know you guys said there's no filler. This song is such a filler song to me.
I think this goes back to her. This could be on her first album, a modernized version of something that would be off the Madonna album. Hey, my booty get down right. I mean, again, hey, she's feeling it. Who doesn't want to get down to that song?
I would admit, I like how, like, on the Like a Virgin performance with Rebel Heart, how she incorporated the booty get down like part, but that is the only part I like in the song.
Well, I think this has another deep meaning. I think a lot of the tracks actually have this particular theme associated with them, which is that she lives and breathes music. Like, she feels it in her heartbeat, literally. It's like an inherent part of her. And she's, again, expressing pride in how amazing she is, how iconic she is, how vital she is. And I think that the entire album, now that I think about it, is kind of almost referencing herself, and how powerful her career has been and how amazing it's been. And I think Heartbeat's just one that's talking about how important that is to her self-identity, basically.
It's well produced. I'll give it that too. Like it's a very well produced song.
Like all of the songs on this.
Doesn't grab me at all. Track 5, Miles Away. I don't know why. I want to like Miles Away very much. I really do. I can see that it means a lot to her in terms of, like, it's quite personal, and Madonna is not usually literal with her lyrics and with her music. This is one of the more literal songs she's ever released, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But also, there's a bit of an overlap with Kylie Minogue's Million Miles. They're on the same theme, distance, people being apart. And yes, for all you Madonna people listening, Kylie's version in inverted commas came out many years later. And yeah, sure, let's just say it. She probably was copying Madonna. She wasn't, by the way. But yeah, I know you want me to say it. So clip that out and stick it on a T-shirt. It's fine by me.
Well, actually,
Miles Away. And it was a lazy video clip. I don't know what's going on with this as a single track.
I hated the video.
Well, actually, speaking of videos, the Give It To Me video is, I think, the worst of her career.
What?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, did we? So the video clip for "Give It to Me," yeah,
She looked really sexy in it. You have to admit
Yeah,
that.
but she was just in a studio dancing around. There was nothing special about
Yeah.
it.
I agree. It didn't do the song justice, I don't think.
Low budge.
and then the video clip for "Miles Away."
It was her
even
in
lower
concert.
budget.
Yeah, in concert, but it was the studio track. It was not good at all.
I would agree.
Yeah, but-
I do understand
Yeah.
the concept of it, like, oh, touring in Miles Away, that makes sense. But I think as a video, I hate when, like, it's one thing to do a live cut as a separate thing, but to do the live cut as the music video is no bueno to me.
Sort of lazy, but I thought the song itself, though, if you just look at the song itself, was great. Like it's about a relationship that's lost its passion, that's lost its way, and
Well, she wrote it. It had to do with Guy, her breakup with Guy, her ex-husband.
Yes. That's literally what it's about. It's about like sort of you're still there physically, but you're miles away. You know, in your head, like you're up in the clouds, sort of thing. And I think it captures an emotion which is a lot of people have felt.
That's quite astute of you to pick up on that, Megs, because a lot of people, because of the video clip especially, which illustrates it, they think that we're talking about a physical distance. She's touring the world and she's got all this adulation, yet she's so far away, literally. But I think she also means emotionally.
I think that's what she means entirely. I think people misread it when they say it's a long-distance relationship. I think it's actually an emotionally long-distance relationship where they've grown apart.
It's probably both. I do want to say this is my favorite song on the album. I
love this song too. I do too. This has a special meaning for me because I had a really great. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I had a really great seat. I was ninth row catwalk, so I was in the middle of the catwalk. So it was awesome to see Madonna back and forth on that catwalk. She sang this in the front of the catwalk, and as she was ending the song, she was going back towards the stage, and we connected eyes, and she winked at me. So this song will always have a special meaning for me.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
I don't want to diminish your story, but I do have to ask a question. You were standing amongst like a couple of thousand people. What makes you think the wink was directed at you?
Oh, it was for sure.
Tim, you were so cranky today.
It was extremely. Hey, again, I don't want to like sound like I'm. But hey, to get a wink from it, no, I was blown away.
Yeah,
it was an amazing feeling.
You can tell when someone's looking at you, Tim.
Yeah. It was very brief. It wasn't like she was like getting down with her guitar and winking at me. It wasn't like that. It's extremely brief.
My favorite thing was at my concert. She said Elton John had a small penis.
Why would Elton John have ever shown Madonna his small penis?
Well,
I don't know. That came up, and
was in it for him?
She said that at the. Where did she say that?
At the Madame X tour I went to. Someone shouted it out from the crowd, and she agreed.
They've always had banter, those two.
Yeah.
She started dressing like me and talking like me. It freaked me out. I love this next track. She's not
Speaking of Elton John,
I've got to say though, is this the sequel to Thief of Hearts from Erotica?
Yes, for sure. I'm glad you said that, Tim. And this is my favorite song off the album.
Good choice.
I love that it's the verse is amazing. I love the chorus. This song has 2 bridges, and then the outro. It sounds like a completely different song. I love the way.
I love the outro.
I loved how Pharrell produced the song. I mean, it just everything. And you've got hand claps, which I'm all about a hand clap. And then you've got the whistle. So I'm thinking Donna Summer, Bad Girls. You've got the xylophone, which kind of reminds me of Ring My Bell by Anita Ward. Megs and Lily probably don't know who that is, but a lot of cool elements in that song.
Can you possibly imagine if they hadn't been so low budget with the whole album, quite frankly, the video clip that they could have constructed around and I know she did this in the concert and that's not why I'm saying it though, but the references to her early career, they could have done something incredibly almost like a time vault of Madonna's career in this, and then referencing it with a storyline, because there's a storyline in this as well. I always have quite a visual response to this song. The video clip could have been unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
this
agree.
song is great, and I think like the live cut from it with her backup dancers dressed as her is really cool. Something that stands out in this track especially, and I forgot to mention in other tracks, is as much as I appreciate Pharrell's production sometimes, I don't need a full rap verse from him on every song.
Yeah.
And who's Wendy?
I think it worked. Oh, that's she played with Prince. They were just
Oh, I think I knew that. Anyway, it's just very bizarre to just randomly hear Wendy.
Hey, I think it's a brilliant track.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and it starts with his characteristic 4 beats as well, which I always like it when Pharrell does that. He does it with like so many of his songs, like all of his best ones start with 4 beats.
Pharrell is
All
very
of them.
creative, but he's actually not. He's not the brightest man in the world. That's why I
No.
always think he's just counting to 4 so that he can get into the song.
He's also not a very good singer, which
No.
if you see him live, it's very, very terrible.
Oh, he's
But
hideous.
You don't notice it with the track because of the auto tune, so it's fine. I thought it was good, but also I love how she used this song to mix it with Lady Gaga's "Born This Way," and then express yourself to say that she was copying Madonna in every way, and it was just perfect.
I actually think it's one of the shadiest moments of a tour I've ever seen in my life.
It was amazing.
When I first saw that on a grainy little MP4 on the internet, when it was someone had filmed it on a camera, I was like, that is genius.
Yes,
beyond
she mixed
genius.
those 3 songs.
And for Gaga to take it so seriously, get a life, Gaga. You need to get a sense of humor.
She's saying you won't knock me off my pedestal, basically. Like, you copied my Express Yourself with Born This Way, and you're not me. You'll never be me. I'm the iconic, I started the pop revolution for females, basically, in the 80s. And
does anyone ever wonder who this song was written about, though? Because it definitely wasn't Gaga, because she was not a thing at the time, really. Does anyone have any info, any insight?
Was Guy seeing another woman at this time? Because she was still married with Guy, you know?
And was that woman wearing Madonna's lingerie? I always found that quite an interesting line. It's like, I'm sure she's meaning that the woman's wearing lingerie that's similar to Madonna's, but the line actually references that the woman snuck into Madonna's bedroom, opened the bottom drawer, taken out some of those conical bras and leggings.
Started stealing looks and lingerie.
I can't help it. It's a very visual song for me. Like, I get excited by the story of it.
The jealousy. And
especially
I think it vocalizes how bitter and vicious it's supposed to be when she performs it, and she yells at you and she swears, and
you're right. There's a bitterness about this
at the end in the tour, which we loved.
Yeah. I actually wish that was on the track itself, is the personality that she does when she performs it, and like calling her dance. She's like, "Bitch!" It's like, where was this on the track? Because the track is very straightforward, but there was a lot of charisma and personality when she performed it.
Right, and even in the beginning when she's like, "This one's for the ladies," it was. I'm like, okay, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. A lot of love for "She's Not Me," and I think an incredibly poorly missed single opportunity. And talking of incredibly, track 7, incredible. That was the worst segue ever. I hate this song. Yeah.
See, I hated it until I got to the guitar part. And then when I heard it's time to get your hands up, boom, boom. It's like, that's when I had fun. It's that stupid verse that I hate. But like the chorus and the part when she's like, "I remember when," that, and then the dance breakdown, those are fun. But apart from that, I can very much understand why people would hate this track.
It's unsophisticated and it's just predictable and boring. I don't like it.
Well, weren't you the man who at the beginning, and yes, Lily's identified I'm cranky today, and probably I am, but weren't you the man at the beginning, or the boy, who said that there are no fillers on this album?
I actually said...
Don't you change your mind halfway through. People aren't allowed to do that.
I inserted a little comment that suggested that I thought that maybe one wasn't very good. Because Lily
this was not the one I'm talking about.
So you're not talking about I thought you were talking about this one. Which
no.
Any of them, I feel like it's this one, but I don't think any of the other ones are.
We'll get to
I really don't.
You will get to it.
I think I know what you might be talking about, but we'll find out later.
This song grew on me. I didn't like it at first, and then It grew on me. And then revisiting it this week, I listened to it I'm like, wow, again, I think the structure of the song is fantastic. The verses, the chorus, and then we get into that great bridge, and then the outro again.
The bridge
I don't know.
breakdown is great in the song. Like, and
But I even think the outro, I love that. Okay, it could have been edited probably 30, 40 seconds. It's a little long.
It's a 7-minute song. It could have been trimmed down a lot more than 30 seconds.
Well, I don't know. It grew on me. I love it. I think it's awesome.
I think it's incredible it made it onto the album.
Would you have... Actually, I would agree, and we can talk about this later. There's some great demos to this album.
Track 8, Beat Goes On. If you ever want to get a bit of an insight into Kanye West's brain and what's going on in there, you can just look to this song. On and on the beat goes, on and on the beat goes, on and on the beat goes, on and on. There's just not much going on. There's a bit of repetition. I actually really like this song, though. And again, I think there are demos of this song too, which I really enjoy as well. This is a great song. I've listened to it too much, so I can barely listen to it anymore and I don't think I listen to it so much because it's one of my favorites. I think I listen to it a lot because I skip over so many of the other tracks when I'm on this album. What do you make, Megs? Beat Goes On, featuring Kanye West, the next president of the United States.
I think
don't you dare.
That
well, you got Trump. I mean, you can't be that.
He's dropped out. He's done. He's never going to run for. But anyway, look.
You imagine Kim Kardashian being the first lady? For God's sake. Seriously, I'll leave planet Earth. Her and that big fat ass.
Can we stick to music, not politics? So I think this fits the theme that I was talking about really well. It's about her being iconic. It's about not missing the opportunity to be who you are, which she didn't, sort of thing. And she says, like, do you want to stand in the back or be the star? And I think...
I'm sorry, Megs, but they're going to have to widen the doors of the White House for her to actually get through it.
Oh, my gosh.
How's that caboose going to go through? I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking of it.
Let me make my points. And I think she's basically saying she was destined for fame and everything, and this song is just continuing that theme that she's iconic, which I don't think it's arrogant or anything. I think she's just celebrating. And I just love this song. It's very well produced, and it's got hip hop and disco and clean pop, and it's just great.
Imagine her shaking the hands of people like Nelson Mandela, and it's just crazy. This is not right. God, I hope it never happens.
Tim,
Beat Goes On, Lily.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think a couple things. This is one of my favorite. It's not my favorite. Like Miles Away is my favorite, but this is one of the better tracks on the album. And I like the change up she did for the Get Stupid interlude. I think that was a smart thing, and that started with her. She started doing political interludes on like every tour, where she did the Sorry remix, and then she did the Nobody Knows Me one. So I thought that was a good choice. And then something else, actually, thinking about this, and I think once I point this out, you might realize it, because I didn't realize this until like a week ago. This song in particular, and like the entire Hard Candy album, sounds really similar to Kylie's Body Language. And I noticed that this track and I Feel For You on Kylie's Body Language are very similar.
Wow.
If you think about it.
I've never thought about that.
Listen to them back to back. No, listen to them back to back, and they have very similar sounds.
Okay.
Well, Madonna should be honoured to be sounding anything like Kylie. So that is an awesome reference. I love that, Lily.
Can I say also, I'm not a big fan of rap, but I thought the rap with Kanye West was really good. I love the rap. It's good.
I agree.
It's perfect for the song.
Just say it a little bit more quietly, because we don't like to give credit to that man. And David?
I actually prefer the demo. I think the demo is phenomenal. I was blown away. It's a grittier version, and her vocals are fantastic. The harmonies. I mean, Kanye. They're doing the tit for tat singing. Loved the demo. This should have been. I do like the album version too. I think it's very solid. This should have been the third single, and then Miles Away. This, I think, could have done well at radio. I do. I think this could have been maybe a top 40 hit for Madonna.
It is radio friendly. There's no question about that.
And a lot of people say that they like the leaked version of it. Yeah.
The demo is. To everyone that will listen to this, please listen to, and you don't have to agree with me, but I think it's the best demo that never was, honestly.
Agreed.
I think it's also important to notice that this is the only non-single song on this album that charted. It charted in 6 countries in the top 10.
Oh yeah, it was released in other like Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah, and Finland apparently or something.
Dance Tonight with Justin Timberlake. It's often derided by the fans as filler and people don't like it. Probably says more about me than anything else, but I love this track. I think it's awesome. I really enjoy it. It's very, very pop-like, and that's probably why I love it. What are we making of Dance Tonight?
Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Okay. I absolutely adore this track. I think it's next to Candy Shop, the sexiest song on the album. And I love when Madonna does sexy. And I love the fact that obviously Justin has a lot of influences, because I hear Earth, Wind and Fire. I hear New Edition. I hear Kool and the Gang in this song.
Yes.
And it's just so, again, the production, the lyrics are, frothy lyrics, but the production's stellar.
I couldn't agree more.
I would agree that this is one of the best songs on the album. This is I think because it wasn't a single, I didn't really know about it until I listened to the album as a whole. But then when I did, I noticed I loved how it transitioned from Beat Goes On. And I think this is one of the better songs on the album. And then I think I misspoke, by the way. This was the song I meant that sounds like Kylie Minogue's I Feel For You. Yes, that's what it the whole album of Body Language.
I need to revisit that album. I haven't listened to it in ages, but shame on me.
Yeah, you will hear so many Hard Candy similarities on that album, which I wonder if that, because I know both albums are very controversial with opinions on production. So I wonder if that's a very similar thing. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Cool.
I think there's something to be said for the lyrics, though, even with this one, further to my point, which I keep sticking to, which is about fame and it's about, living in the moment and everything. And I still think it's very self-referential. And even though this song's way more about the actual music than the lyrics, as with, I think, most of them on this album, I think the theme of fame and success runs through pretty much all of them. And this song sort of epitomizes that. So, yeah.
How's she talking about fame and success in this song?
She says it. She says I don't have the specific lyrics at hand, but she's like, live in the moment, don't miss your chance to be famous, which is exactly what she was saying with Beat Goes On. I think if you read the lyrics, you'll find that that's true.
Well, she's saying common ground. It's like everybody, when you're on the dance floor, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're rich.
Just like Vogue, right? It's the same spirit of Vogue. When you're on the dance floor, you are the star. You are the one.
Yes, you don't have to be beautiful. Rich and famous.
All right, who wants to have a Spanish lesson?
This is the song I said I hate with all my heart.
This song could be on Madam X.
Oh, wow. That's a bit of shade right there.
How dare you, David? This song deserves a rotten...
Well, it would be called Portuguese Lesson on Madam X.
No.
Portuguese lesson.
This is... I will go on record and say I believe that this is... Well, no, I would say this and Auto-Tune Baby are the worst Madonna songs.
Wow. That is a powerful statement, Lily.
And... I'm holding that hard. I hate the song so much, and I hate that she used it on tour. She could have used something else. Well, I mean, this is like La Isla Bonita and other Latin-inspired songs she's done was done beautifully. This, to me, is taking the Spanish language and turning it into shit. And I played, I have a friend who's a Mexican citizen and she lives in the US now. And I played this song for her and she screamed at me and told me to turn it off. And I was like, I will, because it's terrible.
Well, I've just looked up the word shit in Spanish. It's mierda. So hopefully that's helpful for you, Lily. Megs, what are you making of this track?
I don't have a strong opinion. I just think it's fine. It's good. I don't think it's filler. I think she performed it though, didn't she, with the tour? And I think
yes, that's what I'm saying. She wasted a spot on the tour with this song instead of Dance Tonight or.
I agree, Meg. I agree.
Sorry, go, David.
No, I just agree. I did some research and reading like old reviews, and this gentleman from Billboard magazine, Chuck Arnold, he says it really. I totally agree with him. He's like, even the flamenco flavored I'm quoting, even the flamenco flavored Spanish lesson, a frivolous addition to Madonna's catalog of Latin infused nuggets, is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I read that.
Emphasis on guilty.
It's a guilty pleasure on the album.
Did you see that same article?
Yes, I read the exact same article.
Yeah, it's a good article, and you saw why Hard Candy is Madonna's last great album, but that's a whole other.
Definitely. Yes, and
emphasis on guilty. You should be guilty for liking this song.
Capital punishment,
on
please.
Pleasure. No.
Devil Wouldn't Recognize You is track 11 on Hard Candy. At this point of the album, I've switched it off, if I'm going to be honest. Devil Wouldn't Recognize You, Megs.
I thought it was really, really interesting.
You love this track, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's very eerie, and I think it sets the tone for the sort of the ending of the album, which has voices and everything. It's sort of eerie and piano-y, and then it merges into what the rest of the album is, which is drummy. And I thought it was very interesting, almost Rhapsody-like song, and I loved it. I think it has a deep meaning that we could go into too. But
it's very bizarre, I would say, especially these last two tracks, because it's like this entire album has been in the light, and then this song and voices are like going outside in the dark, and it's like, where did this go? But that's not a bad thing. I would say these two tracks are some of the best on the album, but it's just they come out of
lyrically, Lily. I agree. Lyrically, I think they're fantastic.
Yes.
And the final track on the album, Voices, which, Cameron, this is one of your favourites, isn't it? Isn't this the one you keep wanting me to listen to?
I do, because I think you haven't done it justice. Like, it's not my favourite.
I've listened to it twice.
No, it's...
I gave it a chance.
Yeah, I think it stands with Devil Wouldn't Recognize You. It's eerie. It's sort of trip-hop. And it's about, inner torment and bad people, bad relationships, toxic relationships. The devil wouldn't recognize you, and then voices, like even just in the titles, you can tell they're both about a similar thing. It's like psychological torment or something. It's very deep.
I read schizophrenia on that song.
Yes, I've read that interpretation too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like voices. It's literally about hearing.
Who are you? And what person are you? Again,
yes.
The best lyrics out of the album come out of these two last songs.
I would agree. This song, I enjoy the production more on this song than Devil Wouldn't Recognize You.
It was very muddy though, wasn't it, Lily? With the bass and like there's a lot of like hiss in that song. I don't know why.
But to me it
bothers me.
To me it adds to the effect where I feel like I know on the tour she had like rain going as she was performing Devil Wouldn't Recognize You, but to me it's like these two songs are you walking in the dark in the rain and it's muddy, which is why I think but it doesn't make sense to me why it's on the same album as this like light up dance album, and then all of a sudden we close with us walking out in the rain.
Right.
Yeah, I think, but they stand well together. Like if it was just one of them, it would have been like that. But I think she deliberately sort of makes that happen at the end. It's like a segment of the album. Like you can cut it and separate it from the rest.
I think they could have been more in the middle, and then I think she should have closed it with 4 minutes as the penultimate, and then give it to me as the last. That's what I would have done.
And also, it reminds me a little bit of Closer from Kylie Minogue, Dad, which you'll probably be interested to hear. It's got the same thing. When I hear Closer, I think of her walking towards like a haunted house in a graveyard, and I think the same thing when I hear this song.
Yeah, there is something eerie about both of those tracks. But
very eerie.
Yeah. Look, in these podcasts, we don't generally go through every single additional track because we'd be here all day. However, are there any particular standout tracks that didn't make the standard version of the album that any of you would like to mention, such as Ring My Bell from the Japanese version?
So that's
I don't like it at all. That's the only song I didn't like was the bonus one.
I can see why it's a bonus track. Like that's the only comment I really have to see is like it's a fine track, but I see why it's a bonus track.
Go on, Megs,
Yeah,
give it a
but
fight.
you know what's crazy about that is she had two of the best bonus tracks ever on Confessions. Fighting Spirit and Super Pop were incredible bonus tracks. This one, bleh, you know.
Okay, those are
I
opinions.
think Ring My Bell is a great song. I love it. I think it would have fitted very well into the album. And the album doesn't have that many songs, so I think it would have been perfectly fine to add it in somewhere towards the end, because it's not the strongest song, but I think it fits the theme perfectly. I think it's funky and upbeat and
Poor
great.
Megs, he's walked around the house for about 3 months now saying, Dad, you've got to listen to this. Can you listen to it? And I've been quite mean because I've been busy.
don't listen
Not
to it.
deliberately, but I just haven't had the time to go, okay, put it on. I'll listen to it. I'm interested, though, Megs, for you to talk about Hard Candy as a whole. What memories does it bring back?
Well, I was like 7 and 8 when I was really enjoying this one with you, wasn't I? And I associate it with just being a child, really, and having fun and going to the beach and stuff. So it's got lovely positive memories associated with it for me. So
Yeah, we had a few visitors at the time, young visitors around your age, who were staying with us when this album came out.
yeah,
I remember driving to, a couple of hours to go on little mini holidays here and there, and we'd play this album back to back.
Yeah.
Of course, skipping Incredible every time.
Well, that might be why I'm a bit biased towards it. Like, even if a song doesn't sound particularly good, I'm in love with it still.
So there you have it, Lily and David. For Megs, this album is a happy childhood memory, which I don't think anyone's ever said about a Madonna album before. David, what does Hard Candy mean to you?
Just Madonna doing a fun party album. Again, R&B influence, some funk, we got pop in there. We got a little bit of everything, but she didn't take herself too seriously on this one, and that was a breath of fresh air for me. So, and I think it's aged well. I think, again, good party anthem. Background music. You have some people over. Okay, let's put Hard Candy on. So it's a feel gooder. Feel gooder. Oh my goodness, did I just say gooder? It's a feel good album.
Yeah, and I love feel
the
good.
worst album cover of all time. Out of all her studio albums.
She just looks sort of too masculine or something.
Well, she's a dominatrix is the idea. So she's supposed
No,
to
you guys, she's supposed to be hard on the front. She's the hard next to the candy.
It looks like it was done by an 8th grader. I don't know. It does. The photo on the back where she's crouched, I like that photo on the stool, but I didn't care for the front.
The font, like even the writing where it says Hard Candy, I didn't like that at all, because I can imagine me making that on iDraw on like a little app on my iPad. It's not sophisticated.
When you were in the 8th grade, as David said.
Yes, exactly.
I would definitely agree that this album cover is not one of the best. I would say, especially with the typography, I would say this one and Madam X have the worst typography of her catalogs.
There were like 8 different covers for Madam X.
I know, but they all had Madam X just written over her face, blocking out some of those brilliant portraits. For me, this album is a great time for while it lasts, but when I stay for a little bit and I go on my way afterwards. I'm not recommending this one, but when I want to enjoy a good time, I listen to this album.
It's funny because all of you have identified that this is nice for Madonna to have done something that doesn't need you to go on that deep spiritual journey and tell the story from the beginning to the end, which is what she's sort of infamous for and so well respected for as well by her fans. And this album, you don't have to do that. But funnily enough, that's sort of what I miss with this. It's a little bit lightweight. I can imagine someone like Britney or J-Lo putting something out like this. At the same time, I like it. I can't say I don't, but there's too many fillers on it for me.
I would agree with that about how, it's yes, it's just a fun trip, but I am also disappointed with it. I would like a journey. And I agree that I think Madonna's at her best when she does stuff like that. But I do think saying that this album is terrible is too much. I think it does what it does good.
Can I, just before we move on to anything else, can I say that I have proof of my claim about 4 minutes as being about, deep...
Hang on, I'm just going to ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Megs is returning to a previously disputed point.
Yes,
he has added materials to add.
Yes, you attacked me for it, but I have evidence.
I never attack.
You did.
I just persuade.
So I am because we are, is a documentary you might be familiar with that
I'm glad
Madonna
you brought that
released
up.
about 5 days before she released Hard Candy. Once she had already recorded 4 minutes and all that sort of thing. So I think it's very true to say that there's a link between them, and I think that she was definitely inspired by Africa to make the song, or inspired by the song to do things about Africa. So there's my proof.
All right, 4 minutes is an African-inspired ditty
Well-
that Madonna recorded in 2008.
No, it's like
There, I said
a tragedy-inspired one. Okay.
Look, I'm not going to go out and recycle because I listened to 4 minutes, all right? I take it back. I don't
About
agree
the
with you. I still don't agree
African
with you.
nation of Malawi.
Well, the year before, she released as a single "Hey You," which I think is like a nursery rhyme song, but you guys don't remember? Anyway, look it up.
I remember it, but I ignore it.
It's forgettable. It's forgettable. But it's a song about peace and earth and loving one another.
Same theme.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lily, give us the lowdown. How did this track worldwide in terms of the charts and sales?
Well, for charting, it did quite well. It went top 5 in 28 countries for the album as a whole, and in 23 different charts, it peaked at number 1, which is quite impressive. And for sales with the album, it sold a total of 4 million, which is 4 times more than Rebel Heart sold. I'm not sure about some of the other albums. I know her earlier ones, of course, sold more, but looking at it, I would not say this was a commercial failure, like some people might imply with it being a bad album. I would definitely say it charted well and it performed well commercially.
It's in New Zealand, it hung around for around 9 weeks in the top 10.
Really?
Of course, in New Zealand, you only have to sell about 5 copies a week to do that, but it was still successful.
Well, I think it's the last of 11 studio albums that she did for Warner Bros., which is interesting. Like she went to a different label after that or something.
She did. She
I don't
went
know
on
if
to
that's
Live
significant.
Nation after this. Yeah, it
Okay.
is. She was with 25 years with Warner Brothers. and
Yes.
then moved over to Live Nation. So you're right to point that out. That was significant.
But this also was the year 2008 was the year she was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is really great. So on her
I agree
first
with
year of eligibility, yeah.
In terms of Madonna's whole world of music and albums, where does this one sit in there with the fan community and with yourself, Lily?
For me, I would agree that it is a lower placing album if you look at her career as a whole. Does that mean it's bad? No. I don't think, I mean, we can argue back and forth about if she has bad albums or not, but just because this is lower on the end of her career doesn't mean that it's a bad album. I think what it does well, and I'm grateful for that.
Megs?
Yeah, well, I just can't. I just love this album for all the, like you said, the memories I have associated with it. And I don't think there's any filler besides Incredible, to be honest. I think every song has a really good thing to contribute to the overarching album. And I do think Ring My Bell should have been put in there. So
Well, the Japanese, they were delighted because they got it on their album.
Yes.
And David?
She has 14 studio albums. It's number 9 on my list. So it's, but
I love the way
again,
Madonna fans always have a list.
Yes.
They always have a list.
but again, I give this album a B plus, good to very good. It's not introspective, not overly, again, serious, but just fun and carefree. Just party up a little bit, dance tonight.
Well, there you have it. Lily, David, and Megs, thank you so much for talking all things hard candy tonight. It's been a fantastic discussion. I've got to say, though, I know it sounds probably warped and bizarre, but I just pray that those photos don't ever come out. That alternative album cover for Black Madonna / Hard Candy. I hope they never come out because it will spell catastrophe for Madonna Inc. and Madonna herself.
Yeah, it'd be
Let's hope we don't get in trouble for bringing it up.
No, it's you can find it anywhere.
David, this has been your first time talking about a Madonna album via one of our podcasts. Have you had fun?
Oh my gosh, so much fun. You three were fantastic, and I was a fan before, and thank you for allowing me to join this hard candy journey. I hope I can do it again.
Oh, we hope to have you on board. You're awesome. And anyone else listening, if you would like to join one of these podcasts, you can. They're not an exclusive club. Look at me. I made it through the door. We'd even let Kanye West in, I have to say. So leave us a comment and we will invite you into one of our future podcasts. We're probably going to tackle confessions next because we've left it there hanging. I've got to say thank you so much, Lily, and thank you, Megs. And, of course, thank you, David.
Thank you very much.